Hello everyone, I'm Michael, and I invent things. I'm going to enter a college soon and become an engineer. I think being an engineer is really cool. You can see engineers work everywhere around you. We walk on roads, drive cars, fly on planes. These were all invented by engineers. And what about power stations, telephones, the internet? Engineers made those. Isn't that amazing? Being an inventor is even cooler. Many years ago, Jules Verne's story seemed incredible. And now we have submarines, and they are no longer something we get surprised with. People living by the sea or ocean often see them. As for unforgettable Leonardo da Vinci's inventions, I can't even describe my feelings about those. He invented so many things that we use on a daily basis now. Each of his inventions is a miracle. I love reading his works. I dream about visiting the Leonardo da Vinci Museum in Florence. Being an inventor is actually very difficult. It is hard work which people don't usually understand, even the people you're closest to. My father is a military officer and my mother is a teacher. They know exactly how things should be, how people should live, and that people should follow the rules. We have plenty of rules at home and we have order in everything. All of the items in our house have their own places. Even cup handles should be lined up in one direction. You're not allowed to sit on your bed during the day because the bed is for sleeping only. You can sit on a chair or a sofa, but even here there are little things to remember. If you want to have a meal or do your homework, you should sit on a chair only. If you're going to watch the TV, you can sit on a sofa. If you do something with your hands, you are allowed to use an armchair, but this something that you do with your hands should be neat and clean. That's why only my mom can sit in the armchair when she knits or embroiders. I normally use chairs because my parents believe that the main thing I have to do is to study. There is only one exception. No, there are lots of exceptions for one creature who can do anything she wants in our house. It's our cat. Big, fluffy, and really cute cat called Mimi. The cat is allowed to lie or sit wherever she wants and do whatever she likes. And she does use that privilege, which causes lots of trouble for me. Do you want to know what troubles I have because of her? All right, I'll tell you everything. I began inventing things long ago, probably since I was born. When I was little, I could make a pipeline with pasta, connect various parts of toy cars to create something new. My parents never encouraged this. On the contrary, they scolded me for it. Dad forced me to dismantle my inventions and return things to what they had initially been. However, I didn't take it personally. Somehow I realized that they just didn't see what I saw, and I couldn't blame them for that. I always hoped that they would see the miracle in my inventions and understand why it was so important for me. As I grew up, I needed more and more new parts. I began picking up all sorts of interesting objects outside, in the kindergarten, then at school, took those from friends and brought all of them home. My parents scolded me and said that I collected garbage. My mom threw things out, but I wasn't upset about that, as I could always find new pieces. I have a weakness. I love to eat. I can't think when I'm hungry. My dad hated watching me bring stuff home, so he made up his mind to deprive me of desserts and snacks. The parents took away all sweets and fruits from the kitchen. They even installed a sensor on the fridge that sounded each time the door of the fridge was opened. It was really hard. I suffered and waited for meals impatiently. I tried to eat as much as I could and put food into my pockets so that I could take it to my room. But Dad soon started to check my pockets and take all the food away. My mom noticed that I ate a lot, so she reduced my portion by half. Some days were unbearable. I didn't have spare parts that I needed and I didn't have enough food. I was starving both physically and emotionally. On such days, I read a lot. So, I learned that many inventors suffered and were rarely understood. I knew that I couldn't give up, that I had to keep pursuing my dream. As time passed, I became craftier. I stopped bringing spare parts to my room. Instead, I hid those in the attic, and when my parents were busy, I crawled out of the bedroom window and took all the items to my room. In addition, I convinced my parents that sounds of nature helped me to concentrate on my studies. So I turned on tracks with sounds of nature and worked on new mechanisms without being afraid of attracting too much attention because of the noise I made. The most useful were the sounds of rain. So things were getting better for me, but I still starved. I dreamt of pies and roast beef. However, I never complained to anybody because my parents could get punished for mistreatment. One day, I returned from school and saw Mimi playing with a round item. I was shocked. It was a ball bearing. Mom caught the cat and took the item, and of course she told my father about it. He was furious. He searched my room and found nothing, but he decided it would be a good idea to deprive me of dinner for the whole week. It was awful, and it was Mimi who I blamed for this. In the evening, while my parents were having dinner, I was watching TV. I saw an advertisement about cat food. The woman was saying that it was useful and contained all the ingredients a cat's body needed. Suddenly, I had a brilliant idea. I could eat Mimi's food. When everyone went to bed, I snuck into the kitchen and ate the cat's food. The taste was weird, but not bad. I realized that this was the way to both feel full and satisfied and get revenge on Mimi. So, from that night on, I ate Mimi's food. Mimi was always hungry and meowed loudly. My father thought she was sick, so he took her to the vet, but the vet couldn't help and just said that all cats were voracious and that there was nothing abnormal about it. After that, Mimi's portion doubled. I won. I wasn't hungry anymore and I could design and create things. I hid my inventions in the attic. There were plenty of them. I was happy. My dad searched my room on a regular basis but couldn't find anything. However, he continued to keep me away from dinner. I was okay with that. Although Mimi's food wasn't really delicious for me, I didn't care. I could create, and that was the only thing that mattered. I made drawings, created mechanisms, and waited for the moment I could show my inventions to the world. And that day came. The school announced a competition. We had to make something extraordinary, and it was physics and mechanics that our works had to be based on. It was my day. Early in the morning, I went to the attic and took the most interesting and innovative mechanism I had ever invented. I brought it to school. My parents didn't go with me. They believed that I had stopped making things. It was an amazing day. I got first prize. My mechanism was considered the best. I was delighted. My parents were invited to school. The headmaster congratulated them on my victory and thanked them for such a smart son. My father was boiling over with rage. I hadn't obeyed his instructions. Mom was upset. He asked me where I kept all the stuff and said that he hadn't given his permission for bringing garbage home. I was devastated. It was over for me. The headmaster was watching us in surprise. Suddenly, he said that I had made things in the school workshop, that I was very gifted and that my invention could be sent for a competition at the college level. He also added that if I became one of the top 3, I would be able to go to the college for half of the tuition. Headmaster did his best to persuade my father to let me stay after school and work in the workshop. Dad said that he was all right with it and then left. My mother had tears in her eyes. She gave me a hug and I knew that she was proud of me. After that conversation, the headmaster started to help me. He allowed me to stay after classes in the school workshop and work there. I took all my spare parts and inventions there. Teachers also helped me here and there, and I was able to make a lot of useful items for the school. Besides, because of the fact that I stayed long hours after classes, the headmaster allowed me to have free dinner at school. He knew that my parents didn't provide me with food, and I couldn't take Mimi's food with me. The smell was too strong. I also agreed to repair my friends' and classmates' devices, and they brought me delicacies and treats for that. Time flew. I completely forgot about the competition my invention had been submitted to. But one day my parents came to see me in the workshop. I was surprised with the visit. My dad had a letter from the college. He shook my hand and said that he was proud of me. My mom was crying with happiness. I opened the letter and read that I had won the competition and that I had been registered as a freshman at the college. It was an incredible, magical day. Now, I'm sure that I will become an engineer, and my life will be full of interesting things. Please, subscribe to our channel and click the bell button to receive notifications about the upcoming videos. Hi, I'm Peter, but my friends call me Petruccio because my grandfather was Italian. My grandmother, who allegedly was a witch, died a few months ago. She was rich but left us nothing but her beloved cat. All her other stuff and property she signed away to a couple of orphanages. The cat, who we promised to take good care of, was huge, fluffy, and seemed to really dislike us. He wore a collar with a tiny pendant that my grandmother had put on him. The cat wasn't cute or nice. He avoided people and pooped everywhere. When we punished him for that, he pooped even more, and in places we could never find or expect it. Once, when I was trying to catch the cat to take him out of the house, he brushed past the ironing board and hid in the corner behind it. A large, heavy, and old iron was on that ironing board. Rumor has it that this iron had been brought home by my father in the 90s when he proclaimed himself a stalker and made a few illegal trips to Chernobyl, the abandoned radioactive city in Ukraine. Well, that's not what I was gonna talk about. The iron was on the ironing board, and I, being furious about the cat, thought I could easily get him from the corner. I moved forward quickly, trying to catch the animal, but I was probably too big to fit under the board, and I kind of got stuck there. The cat looked horrified and surprised at the same time. I tried to get out and caused the board to move and shuffle. Of course, the last thing I was thinking about was the stupid iron on the board, which slid from the board and landed on my head. I passed out. When I regained consciousness, I had my cat's pendant in my hand. I must have grabbed him when, well, you remember. The cat was nowhere though. I didn't know how much time I had been unconscious, but when I looked back at my watch, I saw that it had stopped about 2 hours ago. It had to be the moment the iron fell on my head. I suddenly realized that I had to be at my university at least an hour ago. So I ate my sandwich, put the pendant into my pocket, and went out. There was a construction site on my way to the university. When I was passing it by, I noticed a man who looked lost. I felt that I should help him, so I gave him a shout and waved my hand to attract his attention. He saw me and started walking towards me when something exploded behind him. The man rushed over to me and started to thank me. He was shaking with fright and was obviously in shock, and so was I. The man kept telling me that I saved his life and that he was grateful. I calmed him down and went to uni, but the thought that it wasn't a coincidence stuck in my mind. When I arrived at university, my friends said the lecture had been cancelled and we would be free for a while. I went to the cafe and sat at the table. I was going to order when I felt that a girl from my group had to enter the cafe. It was a weird feeling, but I decided to stay and wait. In a few minutes, she did walk into the cafe. I was shocked, but still thought it could be a coincidence. An hour later, when I was sitting in on my next class, I felt it again. I felt that the teacher would ask me a question, and I felt that I knew what the question would be. I opened the book, found the answer, and read it, just in case. To my surprise, as soon as I finished reading, the teacher asked me that very question. I couldn't believe it. Was it a gift? But where did it come from? Did that iron hit me that hard? Suddenly, it all came together. The weird iron from Chernobyl, the watch that stopped when I lost my consciousness, and my new feelings. When my father first brought that iron home, things started to happen. Weird things. My father claimed that he had been abducted by aliens. My mom started to attend yoga classes and then became a New Age movement member. I also felt that something was different. I could predict weather changes. I could predict small changes. It all started from that iron. So, what should I do? Should I follow in my grandmother's footsteps, help people, and live somewhere on the outskirts with cats? It wasn't what I wanted. These thoughts made my head spin, so I went home to have some sleep. I woke up the next morning thinking about how much I wanted to have biscuits with orange juice for breakfast. Imagine my surprise when I saw biscuits and orange juice on the kitchen table. I had my breakfast and went to visit a friend. On the way to his place, I decided to come and see a man who owed me some money and failed to return it for a few months now. For some reason, this time I was sure he would give me my money back. And here he was, handing me the whole sum and an extra 100. He said, "Sorry for the delay. I hope we'll still be friends." We shook hands and I went to my friend's place. Nothing happens by accident, I thought. I decided to check my new gift. When I was approaching my friend's house, in my mind I pictured that he would present me his favorite Xbox, which I loved and wanted to have. When I finally arrived, I learned that my friend was going to move to another city with his parents, and that they couldn't take all the stuff with them. So he offered me to take his Xbox. It was incredible. I felt happy. I thought that my gift started to develop, and soon I might be able to not only predict the future, but also form and change it. I thought about endless possibilities that I had. I could get anything, all the money in the world. I could be the Almighty. I decided to do something I had dreamt about for a long time. Alice was the girl I was in love with. She was perfect, beautiful, slender, smart, charming, and arrogant. I never existed in her world. I was scared to talk to her because she would definitely turn me down. But now that I had power, she wouldn't be able to refuse to go on a date with me. I could convince her that she loved me. I was so excited that I completely forgot about the Xbox and my friend. I started looking for Alice. She was in a cafe with her friends. They were chatting and laughing. I came up to her. I was very confident. She stopped talking and looked at me. I said, "Alice, I want to be with you, today and forever. Let's go." A second later, they were all laughing at me. She replied, "I don't know who you are, but you're definitely not the man I'll pay attention to. Go away." I felt humiliated. I couldn't understand why my gift didn't work. I thought I could change reality. I walked around for a long time thinking about what had happened. I felt hungry, so I went to a cafe. I must have looked so miserable that a man from a table next to me sat in front of me. He said, "Once I was as miserable as you, and a man came up to me. He helped me to solve the problem that bothered me, and I feel that it is time for me to do the same for you. Tell me what happened." At first, I wanted to refuse, but his kind smile encouraged me. I told him everything. He wasn't surprised. "I am the right person to help you. I'm a compulsive gambler, and I managed to get rid of this addiction. The thing that has happened to you is the player's effect. When you win again and again, you start to believe that luck is on your side. But the chance of winning is always 50-50. I can congratulate you. You've had the longest run of happy coincidences. It's a rare thing. You don't have a gift." I felt better. I no longer had any responsibility towards humanity. I was an ordinary guy again. "What's that?" the man asked, looking at the pendant in my hands. I was holding my cat's pendant the whole time and I didn't even notice. "Oh, it's my cat's pendant. Oh, I also have a cat. Can I look at it?" "No, you can take it, actually. My cat ran away after trying to kill me with an iron." I left the cafe. On the way home past an apartment block, in one of the windows, I saw the man I had met in the cafe who was putting the pendant on my cat. I rushed over to them, but when I got there, both the man and the cat disappeared. I started to doubt again. What was that? This is just the beginning of my story. If you want to know what happened next, subscribe to our channel and click the like button. If there are enough likes, I'll understand that you want me to continue the story, and I will tell you who that man was.